This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for? You ready?
And now, the W with Walls and the crew.
Good morning.
Where winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. On 100.1 FM.
Good morning.
And Facebook Live.
Good morning. Right back like we never left. Another Saturday morning with the W Show Kansas City, talking sports and pop culture. You're listening to the W Show on 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, watching us live on one of our social media pages. If this is your first time checking us out, we appreciate you. Thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, I'm joined by the other hosts of the show, DJ Q, Jazz, and Noel. Good morning.
I'm still on mute. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, how was everyone's week?
Good, man. Good. Really good. Up, down app launch week. Steve, you got to act like you're excited about it.
Oh, I'm definitely excited about it, man. I downloaded the app, so make sure everybody tell people how they can go download that thing.
Well, it's for iPhone users only right now. So just go to the App Store, type in up, down, one word, and then app, A-P-P, Inc., I-N-C, and it should pop up down nightlife app.
Yeah, so for you Android users, sorry for you. You missing out.
You was already missing out. You was already missing out. Let's be real.
it'll be ready and available for them soon. So
yeah. Well, it's good as iPhone users. We're in there, so it's all that really matters right now.
Definitely.
All right, coming up on today's show, the Kansas City Chiefs officially announced roster moves for 53-man cuts, as all teams around the league have trimmed rosters before last Tuesday's deadline. Also, Chief safety Tyrann Mathieu has been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. We'll dive into that. And a phantom high school football team, Bishop Sycamore, showcased on ESPN last weekend, fires his coach. Wow, that's going to be a topic. And coming up in about 30 minutes, we'll have our sneakers of the week during our Hater Lover segment. Let's get to today's headlines.
And now, here are the biggest sports headlines from this week. We bring them to you every Saturday morning on the W with Walls and the Crew on 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
5 Kansas City Chiefs players named on the NFL Network Top 100 Players list and 7 named on the ESPN Top 100 list. Chiefs QB Patrick Mahomes named the number 1 player on all of the lists. And, of course, the NFL Network selection is done by the players. What do you guys think about the rankings?
I love it. And I know Q's like, I knew he's going to say he loves it. But, yeah, I love it just because it showcases how guys feel like, their peers are playing, right? And for people to not feel like Tom Brady is the number 1 quarterback in the league. And I mean, we all know, we can tell by the eye test, but for them to say, all right, even though Patrick Mahomes goes out there and beats up on these guys, they still say he's the best quarterback in the league. And I watched from as they counted down from 10 to 1, and it showed how guys were just talking about different players' abilities and what they think about how they did. And when they got to Patrick Mahomes, they were saying like, hey man, even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive backs and their linebackers was like, yeah, he torched us in the first game. And even in the second game, even though he didn't score a touchdown, we still felt like we had to keep our foot on the gas because we knew he could come back at any moment. Like, even though we were up in fourth quarter, we still felt like he could come back. So it's cool to see. And I'm happy to see that they're getting their respect. And they're just a couple of guys like Chris Jones and Tyrann Mathieu. There's no way Tyrann Mathieu's the 58th player in the league. I just don't see it.
I mean, there's a lot of good players in the league, but I want to get off my Chiefs hate real quick. I'll lead with love. I love that Patrick is number 1. He's clearly the best player in the NFL. And looking at what he's done with this franchise really over the past 4 to 5 years, it's remarkable to see that not only a black quarterback doing that, but a guy so young doing that and doing it from his, from the start. But but Travis Kelce is number 5.
That's where I was going with it. That's where I was going with it. Yeah.
And I could argue, and I wouldn't argue this, but you could. He's arguably the number 1 or the number 2. Like, it's a 1A, 1B situation, and I think that's a bit high for a guy that's on a team with Tyreek Hill. And I believe there are 2 players on the team, and if we count Tyrann Mathieu, 3 that are better on the field and impact wise. I think Travis gets a lot of, and not taking away from his talent, but I think he gets a lot of balls and a lot of targets because Tyreek and Pat take a lot of that attention. And he's kind of like the third rung on the wheel, but he's the number 1 in receiving yards. I think it is for receivers and tight ends. Yeah. So, that his numbers speak for it. I would find it more solidified if he was the number 1 athlete on the team. And I think that number 1 athlete is Tyreek.
5 is high. That's where I was going with it.
5 is
everybody.
High.
Everybody else kind of is where I feel like they should be. I mean, players, we know those lists are always better than the ones that these, various media outlets and, come up with, because they're the ones on the field. They're the ones that are actually going up against these guys, and they know better than anybody else. But 5 Exactly. But 5 for a tight end. I mean, I don't mean to hate on our guy Trav, because I do think he's amazing. I do think
He's a great guy.
he's gonna end up being probably the best first or second as far as tight ends go of all time. I think is because as long as he stays with Pat. But it's kind of hard because football is one of those things where the player, they don't play both. It's not like basketball, like they don't play both offense and defense, so you can't get a good measure of their impact when they're on the court. It's just one way. And a tight end, it's hard for a tight end to affect the game without catching passes, and that they have to catch a pass from the quarterback, who has to have a line that blocks in order for them to get the ball. So you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of layers for them to affect the game, and so it just 5 for a tight end just seems like super high.
Yeah, and Travis even leaped from last year. Like he leaped up. And you look at players that got up in the top 10, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Tom Brady, of course, TJ Watt, Josh Allen. Again, those are some reaches up there in that top 10. Josh Allen, I'm not putting him there yet. TJ Watt, still not putting him there yet. But
here's the thing. Here's the thing about it. It's last year we saw where he was. I think he was like 14, 15, somewhere in there.
Yeah, he was somewhere in the top 20, I think it said.
And you got they're basing it off of a lot of it the past couple of years. Now, the past couple of years, he's been like phenomenal these past years. And then last year, I mean, he's leading wide receivers for the majority of the year. I mean, he was been in the MVP race for a while. He was leading all the wide receivers with receptions. Receiving yards, and he's a tight end. Like, he doesn't run 30 yards down the field. He's 10, 15 yards, and then he gets a lot of yards after the catch. So I mean, that speaks to his talent. And I think he ended up second after, I think, behind Stephon Diggs for receiving yards last year for a tight end, the highest ever, really. So I mean, 5 is good, right? I mean, we're not talking about all time. We're just talking about 1 year.
No, yeah.
In last year. So if it's last year, you have to base it off just, what he did last year. And I mean, he was great last year. And he's not even the number one go-to on his team. So
of course.
Just looking at last year. Yeah, of course.
She's
Jazz is muted. Jazz doesn't know she's muted.
Oh, my bad. They're also preparing. Chiefs are preparing for next Sunday's season opener against the Cleveland Browns. And it was reported on Wednesday that Tyrann Mathieu has been placed on reserve COVID-19 list after testing positive. What do you guys think?
This is very interesting.
I know Chiefs fans really love that that week in between the last preseason game and the first, the season opener, because I think this kind of saves them, especially for the, who they're up against for season one. I mean, for week one.
Yeah, it's really interesting because had he not been vaccinated, which back in April he said he hadn't been, and we really didn't know, even when this news came out that he'd been placed on the COVID reserve list. We found out that he'd been vaccinated earlier this week, like the day after. And I'm like, this means if you're not vaccinated, it's an automatic, I believe, 10 to 14 days that you're going to miss. He would have been no good for the game. Yeah. But since he's been vaccinated, he has to have 2 consecutive negative tests, and he's good to go. So that being said, hopefully we don't really know how long beforehand that he had it, and I'm not sure. I believe they're still wearing their contact tracers. We haven't heard much about that, but I'm just wondering who else he had been around, so hopefully it didn't get to anyone else, but hopefully his family is fine as well. But it's good to hear that he's been vaccinated and that, he hadn't had any symptoms or anything like that. So it's good to go. But we saw guys last year and even guys this year who've had it and haven't been the same player. I mean, look at a person who we'll talk about later, Cam Newton. When Cam had COVID last year, I mean, before he had COVID, he was balling. And then he got COVID and kind of tapered off and basically nosedive. He didn't just taper off, but hopefully, he's good to go on Sunday.
I think
Yeah,
what people
definitely.
need to listen to on this is that one, Cam Newton, when he got it, he got sick off the deep end. Basically, his production went off. I think what people need to listen to is he was vaccinated, so he's like the risks are far lower, because I think what people are kind of the argument points are for against the vaccine is that it's not stopping it from spreading. It's not stopping you from getting it. We know this. If you listen to any doctor, you listen to any medical professional, we know this. We know that if any vaccine that's ever been created is not 100%, nothing is 100%. But the fact that he was vaccinated, he'll probably make a full recovery. He will be okay. And the fact that he won't be out for 14 days, I think players who aren't vaccinated need to see that. Like, if you aren't vaccinated and you catch COVID, you're no good to the team for 2 weeks, a full 2 weeks. And now Tyrann's vaccinated. He's only going to be out for two days, maybe. He has to have two negative tests in 24 hours. So I think that's what people need to take a look at. Those horse dewormer truthers out there. That's the key. So he should be good for game day. So.
Yeah, and it's for unvaccinated. If they test positive, it's a 10-day isolation. So
yeah,
exactly.
They're officially announcing roster moves for the 53-man cuts, as all teams around the league have trimmed rosters before last Tuesday's deadline. There was a few surprises among the cuts, including waiving 5th-round draft pick from the 2021 NFL draft. What are some of the surprises that stuck out to you guys?
I would say that 5th-round draft pick, Powell, who's from out
wide
of
receiver.
Yeah, they placed him on waivers, and then of course now he's back with the practice squad. But I just felt like, I mean, to me, when I saw number 14 running down the field during training camp, I'm like, wait a minute, Sammy's in Baltimore. Why is there number 14 out there looking like Sammy? But he just didn't do the things that he needed to do during preseason and also during training camp. So I think a year of seeing Andy
seasoning,
just a year of being able to understand in the NFL. A lot of times these guys can't take that leap from college to the league. I mean, it's a big jump, but it'll click and then the game will slow down. I think he'll be fine. And also the Chiefs have enough receivers right now to not to even worry about it. But it is what it is. And I thought Marcus Kemp, he was waived as well, and he's brought back now to the active roster. So it'll be good.
That one kind of surprised me too, the wide receiver as well, just because, I mean, we know McCole is trying to step up into that wide receiver 2 role. Robinson as well, but nobody has really made that jump, and it's kind of blowing my mind that people are still talking about it. But I mean, it for real, it hasn't happened yet. So we kind of thought that he would be that guy. But like you said, he's still on the practice roster. He just needs one season of being in the system, just kind of being around the guys, getting his body right. I think he can be that wide receiver too, if McCole or Robinson don't step up. So, but other than that, I mean, I didn't really see too much that I was surprised at.
I also thought that Tim Ward, he's of course defensive end. I think that the Chiefs here's what happens now. So they place these guys on waivers, and any team can, once they're placed on waivers for 24 hours, and any team can pick those guys up. And sometimes they try to sneak a guy on there, and maybe he'll get picked up, and maybe and they just like, oh, we're hoping that he doesn't get picked up. But like Tim Ward was placed on waivers and claimed by the Jets. So
these other teams are watching.
They definitely are.
They're using that wire, because they coaches have connections with other coaches. They talk to different, like like specialty coaches, like special teams and running back coaches, they all have these connections. So they're making phone calls as soon as players hit waivers. Like, hey, what did you think of him? I was watching him in preseason. He made some good plays with the twos or the threes. What do you think? And they're gonna pick them up. So it's trying to sneak them on there is gonna be pretty difficult when they all have that wire. You know,
and it's crazy. It's like Andy Reid said. It was social media with so many. It's like you can't hide a guy anymore. It just doesn't happen that way. And you put a guy out there, and it's like, all right, hopefully that you watching the clock. Like, all right, can we place him on our practice squad? And with practice squad being 16 guys now, it's like, man, we try to sneak that guys. And I'm surprised Powell didn't get picked up by anybody. You know, what I mean, he was legit in college, so it is what it is. But you had a bunch of guys that have been placed on the practice squad, and it's good that you get these veteran guys that you can just have on the practice squad that is able to be there when you need them, and they don't just you don't have to be away from the facility. They can be there right with your team.
Definitely.
I see Shane had said, I'm worried about Willie Gay and his slew of injuries in the last 8 months. He's a beast on the field with so much potential. Is this a major concern, or am I paranoid? And Willie Gay, of course, it was some news that came out of Arrowhead this week that he has been placed on the injured reserve list. So Willie Gay will when you're placed on, you have to miss 4 games. So
and that's
4 games with I believe it's turf toe. But with turf toe, we saw what happened with Patrick last year. I mean,
it hurts. I'm gonna just throw my testimony in here.
Sometimes you need surgery, sometimes you don't. So hopefully this is one of those things where he doesn't need surgery.
You would never know, but talking about injuries like a knee, it hurts more. ACL. That turf toe is nothing to be played with. It literally you can't move like you want to, because every movement somehow it involves your big toe, and I hate it.
Dad, you ever had turf toe before?
Never had turf toe before.
It wasn't fun.
Stuff, maybe, but I mean, I guess I'm thankful dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Any other roster cuts around the league that were surprising to you guys?
I mean, Cam is literally where we at with it. Might as well dive into that. I mean, our guy just got cut after he was I thought it was crazy because he was kind of acting like the number one quarterback. Like he was like when Mac was in the game and he was doing well, he was kind of like the guy that was big up, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm glad you're doing well. Like, you're doing it. Like we here. And he kind of had that swag of the guy that, like, man, I know I'm number one. So, like, I'm going to just go over here and just kind of, mess with the second guy, get his mind right. And they cut him. I don't know if it has anything to do. It could have anything to do with a number of things, but I'm more on the vaccine side of things. Like, what was that conversation? What was that conversation like? I want to know what
that's part of it, though. When you look at the Patriots' dominance, really over the last 20 years, all we hear about is the Patriot way. That's all you hear about. People that come in and they need to buy into the system. We've heard Rodney Harrison talk about it. We've heard Chad Ochocinco talk about it. We've heard a lot of different players talk about when you come in here. It's almost like joining the military. Like you are a piece of a system, a whole machine. And Cam not wanting to get vaccinated, I'm sure that plays a part in it. Also, him having COVID and not being able to recover. It's the same as having an injury. And a lot of people ask me about it this week just because they know that I'm a huge Cam advocate. But in the system that we're in now, and especially in the NFL, you have to conform in some ways. And if Cam doesn't want the vaccine, that's his choice, but it's also their choice to let you go. And there's nothing you can do about that. As much as you want to sit around and wait for it, you see the benefits in Tyrann coming back just in plenty in time for the season opener. So Cam is just doing a lot to hurt the team. And they're in this position where they need to start over. And we knew Cam was a rental for a season or two. So
that's tough.
Here's my thing on it. It's he knew when he didn't get the vaccination. Now, granted, he's in a different position than all of us. You know, normal Americans. We don't have $100 million in the bank, right? We haven't made $100 million over our lifetime so far yet, right? So Cam has done that, and whether he plays football again, I really don't think it's the top of his list, right? Like, I mean, if it was 1 out of 10, I would say probably a 6 or a 7, right? Like if it was a 9 or a 10, he'd be like, all right, hey, CVS, what time can I come in and get the shot? Like, I mean, so I just don't think it's up there, because if it was, he would have gotten a shot already. So money clearly isn't motivating him. But
he probably didn't want to be there.
Yeah, he's also he's an
that's
athlete, and that's it too. He could possibly not have wanted to be there, but to lose your job to a rookie, a guy that's unproven in the league. Cam, in fact, we all know Cam's a megastar. I mean, he's a people person. He's magnetic in the locker room. People look up to Cam. He was once rookie of the year, NFL MVP,
face of the league, like on every commercial. All of that. Yeah. But you have to look at a guy in Cam's shoes, and he's done it all. He's experienced it all except for winning a Super Bowl. He's been to a Super Bowl, like everything. Cam serves as a mentor at this point. And he serves as almost a glue guy. He's a guy that, you know, he's going to come in, he's going to have fun. A lot of the players around him are going to like him. He's a gifted athlete. He's very smart. He's a good quarterback, especially when he has pieces around him, if teams can get pieces around him. But like Steve alluded to, I don't think football is at the top of his priority. If he gets a job, great. And I hate to even say it like that, but
his actions speak that. As far
his actions speak that. And part of that could be that he doesn't want to be there. We saw how James Harden really ejected himself from Houston and went to Brooklyn. So that could be. That could be what he wants to do. He could go the route of Le'Veon Bell and maybe trying to land on a team that can play for a championship, and he can be again a mentor to a young quarterback. But I wouldn't count Cam out, because we know Cam's going to stay in shape and Cam will be fine. You could almost put him on any team, from the Dolphins to the Bills to the Chargers, Houston, to whoever with a very young quarterback. And I'm not saying Houston because their quarterback isn't young, but even still, like, just
I just said Houston just because if they're not going to have Deshaun Watson, if they're not going to play him,
of course,
you need a quarterback. So I could definitely see Cam going down to Houston and balling. I don't like that being in the AFC, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, to your point, Q. It could have been like, all right, well, shoot, I'm just not gonna get vaccinated, because there was some kind of mix up, like where he missed the 2 weeks from training camp. It was like a protocol mix up or something like that, where he was going down to Atlanta and he wasn't vaccinated, so he was gonna have to miss 5 days, and that's when Mac Jones was able to, you know, they saw what Mac Jones could do. So, here's the other thing: Bill Belichick is willing to fall on that sword, though. And that's so too.
So again, you look at the Patriot way and being a part of a machine. No one player is ever above the team, and they showed that by letting Tom Brady walk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like as
the head
much
of the
as,
snake, the head of the snake, literally.
So
now we're going to take a quick break. Coming up, we'll continue our top headlines discussion, starting with the University of Kansas Athletic Director Travis Goff hires Wayne Simone Jr. to associate athletic director role. This is the W Show. We'll be right back.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Dre, when he was younger, he loved to smile. And we knew he would need braces because his teeth were coming in funny. That's when he had the bunny rabbits. We called them the bunny rabbit.
Now, those are the same two front teeth there that they are now.
Then Dre ended up having to wear braces for 5 years because he never made it to appointments because he was busy playing basketball. If he missed practice, he don't get to play in the game.
This is the picture that was on the front page of the newspaper. All you can notice is the braces.
Then once he got to Michigan State, he broke the retainer.
My bottom teeth, they were really crooked, and I just wasn't getting braces again. Small Direct Club fits into my lifestyle so well. The liner is so great. It's easy to just grab it and go, and then I can change on the road. I did photo shoots with my liners in, and you can't see them.
I wish Small Direct Club would have been around when I was paying for them. I wouldn't have had to take them out of school. I wouldn't have had to miss work.
It's like a great feeling to have good teeth. A smile is a first impression. That's why I think having a great smile is so important.
From the moments that shape our lives.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Remember to interact with our show. Use hashtag talk about it. Message us. We'll talk about whatever topic you want. But the University of Kansas AD Travis Goff hires Wayne Simone Jr. to associate AD role. Former Kansas basketball All-American Wayne Simone has been hired as an associate athletic director for engagement and outreach. And according to news release announcing the hire, Simone will play a key role in leadership and professional development opportunities for student athletes, coaches, and staff. What are you guys' thoughts?
Love it. Really love it. It's when we talked about a lot of these athletic directors, we talked about a lot of GMs for teams, and especially in the NCAA, how there's a disconnect between very old white coaches and young black players. And Kansas, Lawrence really being a town notorious for that, being very disconnected from a lot of the young black players. It brings some sense of comfort, I would say, to some players. And I think this is a strategic move for them because a lot of their former players they could bring in and be very pivotal. And they don't do it. And it seems like this is a step towards that, becoming more younger, more relatable. And it probably will help with recruitment.
Yeah, I think it'll help with recruitment as well. And not only that, when you get a guy like Wayne Simone who has been in the NBA, he's been, at the top of his game, right? He's done everything that you've asked him to do. He's been a model citizen. He's from the area, right? And he knows KU through and through. I'm sure, and I haven't, talked to Wayne about this, but I'm sure he's watched KU growing up. I'm sure he's been a KU basketball fan way before he played there. So he knows the community, and to just be right down the road from Leavenworth, Kansas, that is speaks for itself. And he probably is not even going to live in Lawrence. He'll probably just live in Leavenworth. But that's definitely a huge recruitment tool. And then to have someone who is in that front office who looks like the players, like that's huge too. It speaks volumes. And for them to kind of understand that, and because KU, there's been a lot of question marks in KU's front office, from what happened last year to the whole Les Miles thing, the past athletic directors, and we know that Bill Self is the face of KU. It's time to get some young, fresh blood in there, and some things happen. And I think that's their understanding, and that's what they're going to do.
I literally said that. I literally said they hired this man so that connection, like you were saying, will be there, because after a while it can wear on you. It can wear on you when somebody just doesn't understand you, so to speak, I guess. But they're the one that's making decisions for you, and you're like, hey, like we're down here, like we know KU basketball is what makes the allure of give KU its aura, I guess, so to speak. So they need somebody who literally played at KU and went to the NBA. That'll do numbers, as far as they already recruit really well. Bill Self is there, but it'll just add that extra piece that'll make it easier. So I think this is a great move by them. I mean, they probably should find somebody who played football and went to play football and went to KU. Maybe that would help as well in another role. But we'll start with Simeon. So Wayne, I mean, so
yeah, I think it'd be other team. This is definitely it's other Q. I told you earlier this week. It was like, man, I think there's other guys that are definitely qualified for other positions like this around college athletics. So this will open up some doors for other guys around the NCAA.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Phantom High School football team Bishop Sycamore showcased on ESPN last weekend. Fires its coach.
Big dummy.
Oh goodness. Yeah, this this is funny. Like the whole story just screams
Big dummy.
because why? Like that's the main question. Why? And I understand like you want to put people want to have a product out on the field, but to have a fake high school, that's like saying, all right, we're gonna go and put together this this high school, and because I mean you see other cities and other schools try to implement this, and what it is, when it works, but when it doesn't, it's like, nah, that's not what's up, because there's other schools that have partnered. So like, okay, I can't remember the exact name of the school, but what happens is you have they have dorms at different institutions, and you can get like a basketball team, and basically they are teaching the students, but you also have that traveling basketball team. And there's other schools that have done this. I can't remember the exact name of the school, but there was a documentary actually on Netflix that talked about
they're called post-grad schools. So it was an option for me when I was in high school, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to go to college. Let me go to this school that's a post-grad, and it's basically their classes, the classes aren't what the emphasis is on. The emphasis is on the sport.
Right.
Like, and they travel around and they play these different teams, these other teams, these charter schools.
Basically,
and they just they move around the country and they play against the top talent, high school talent in the United States, and then after that, that's when these schools can recruit them without being, the restrictions aren't as much as there are in high school, so it's easier to get a hold of these kids and talk to them if you're a college coach or anything like that. So that's the idea of a charter school or a post.
Here's the thing about that though: you gotta be good. Like you can't go out and get torched on national.
Exactly.
You gotta be.
What I was rounding around to.
Those guys are good. I mean, they're not playing high school kids.
So IMG Academy is not for people who aren't 5-star. Like if you go to IMG Academy, you in basketball, football, whatever, you are a 4-star athlete. So
not for play.
It's not for play. So whoever this school is, this Bishop Sycamore, they were just trying to play on that charter school system. People don't really do their research when it comes to these, because they're kind of like almost phantom schools, a lot of them, because they can pop up everywhere. They don't need like a full building of this, like you said, of the school. Like they just need the players, and they need teachers, and they figured it out. Basically, they tricked ESPN into thinking we have a full operation going here, and ESPN didn't do its research, and so now like they're embarrassed. And then these kids, I feel like they were probably grown men. I think the reports are that they're grown men, and so
they were.
It's just embarrassing all the way around.
They went out and got their tails kicked in. I tell you that on national TV too.
Oh my God, 58-0.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's crazy. It's crazy how the story kept evolving as the week went on. I think there was new developments all the way up till about Thursday or Friday about the coach having arrest warrants, and then being on the run again. Like it's just a lot. It's a lot that went into this story, and I just can't wait for the 30 for 30.
Yeah, I hope it comes out. I'm not gonna. ESPN should troll itself. They should troll itself and make this a 30 for 30.
And a final point: how many times are we going to allow ESPN to fumble the bag?
I mean, they're not going nowhere. They're not going.
I mean,
nowhere.
I know they're not going anywhere, but I mean, from Rachel Nichols to Jamel Hill and Michael Smith, like they're just fumbling the bag over and over again, and they're just completely sloppy.
Yeah, and to save face, I mean, because what ESPN had come out and said was that they basically hire an outside company to run all that, like the high school. And so to save face, I'd be like, hey, I'm not going to hire this company and I'm looking for another company, because this company basically, like you just said, it added some more to our already terrible reputation. So
that's tough.
But if you guys want to get 5-6 players and go find a school that is willing to, and most of the time they're private schools or charter schools, find a school that wants to give us accreditation. We can get some hoopers and travel them around, but it take a lot of money too.
No, it takes more.
Steve,
than
you got it.
A whole lot of money. I don't even know if I would want to be involved in that. It's a big commitment. You have to have like an actual base. Like you can't just put them together. Like you actually have to have like.
We stand down at the Motel 6. They left the light on for us. So.
Oh man, that's what they were doing too. Oh man.
Yeah.
Now, Ohio State freshman QB Quinn Ewers signs $1.4 million NIL deal.
Hate it.
Hate it.
Wrong button. Wrong button. Yeah, I love it though. Even though we're not at that segment yet. 1.4 million. Look, there's guys in the NFL that haven't even made $1.4 million yet. So for him to be what is he? He's still a senior in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but what does he have to do for this 1.4 million though? Like, what's the deal?
He signed a deal with GT Sports Marketing. It specializes in autographs for athletes, and the deal with Ewers probably spans 3 seasons. So
he has to stay in college for 3 seasons, or
yeah,
that's cool.
Or that null and void. That's what it sounds like to me.
So he basically just signed a bad record deal, because if he doesn't make them 1.4 million, he's up somebody's creek.
Shoot.
It sounds good though. I wonder how much did he get to sign?
Not sure.
500,000. I signed my name for 500,000. Here we go.
500,000. I mean,
I need up.
This guy is planning on being the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. I'm sure he's gonna see more money than that. Yeah. So,
and I'm sure Maurice Claret was banking on a lot and being the number 1 draft pick too, and that didn't work out.
He fumbled his own bag. You gotta.
Again, just like a record label, he better fulfill the investment. So.
But yeah, and what we talked about was it earlier this week. And I'm like, why aren't these kids or parents, if you're watching and you have a kid that's could possibly get an NIL deal, they should they should all get together and say, hey, these networks, ESPN, in order for you to show my face on your network, you have to pay me to show my face. Otherwise, if you can't show my face, then hey, how can you film our game? How can you?
So Steve, what leverage do you have against 1,000 other players?
What leverage do I have? If I'm the number 1 player in college basketball and I say, hey, this is what it is, you can't show my face, what do you think they're gonna do? Come up with some kind of NIL deal?
I think that they'll move on.
If I say CBS, you can't show my.
They'll move on, Steve. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
Exactly.
Exactly. Top player in the league. If Ronnie James goes to college and said, "Hey, you cannot show my face," CBS, you can't show my face without a likeness deal, image and likeness. You can't show my face without signing up something. CBS, you're gonna have to pay me for every time. You don't think CBS is gonna come with some kind of money?
They're not gonna do that.
No,
I don't think they're gonna do that, man. And I'm gonna be honest.
Tell me, Steve.
It sounds like they ain't gonna do it until they actually do it.
Look, tell me the last person that stood up to a major media conglomerate in America and made it past.
That's just not in his best interest because he's
not.
like, for one thing, he's not LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be kind of semi-different if he was the number one player in the world and they're like, all right, he's going to be
basketball player, yeah.
Okay, but like, say he is
like regular Joe Schmo going to
I get it.
Avila.
say
no disrespect to Avila,
why did they catch it straight like that?
Steve, good luck to those players that take your advice.
I don't think that would be smart. That wouldn't be smart to do. I would I don't have any leverage other than what people have said about me up until I get to college. I feel like you would actually have to show and prove that you're worth that much money in order to ask for something like that.
Hey.
That's all I'm saying.
Hey. If these kids have a following, it'll work.
They do. They do.
Cristiano Ronaldo becomes all-time leading scorer in international men's soccer.
Mm-hmm. I'm Barca. I'm Barca over here, so I ain't repping none of that. Repping none of that. He's great though.
I'm about to say, you gotta commend him for that though, because it's tough. Scoring goals in any sport is tough.
Soccer is probably the toughest sport I've ever played. I would, even next to football. Football was, harder physically, but actually scoring goals, and having the footwork, soccer is harder than both basketball and football. So I have to give it up. He's one of the greatest of all time.
Facts. We're gonna take a quick break. Coming up, we'll have our Hate It or Love It segment and kick it off with our sneakers of the week. This is the W Show. We'll be right back.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
It's that time for Love It or Hate It.
Hate it.
If we love it, we talk about it. If we hate it, we move on.
Starting off our sneakers of the week, we have the Yeezy Slide Glow Green.
I'm feeling these. I don't know about y'all, but I want me a pair.
I'm just not a fan of the
people
talked
it up. Now, people have been talking them up, so I really want to know. I was watching. What was I watching? The show with Chris Broussard and a friend of the show. What is his name? We talked with him on Radio Row.
Oh yeah.
I can't.
I don't know why I can't think of his name.
I can't. I don't know why either. I know I messed it up, but he talked him up. No, I watched the show they did, and he was like, "Yeah, I got some." I was like, "You of all people have some Yeezys?" He was talking it up. He was like, "Yeah, the most comfortable slide I've ever had. It's worth it. You should buy some, Chris Broussard." So I'm kind of intrigued now. At first, I was like, "These are ugly and whack," but I'm intrigued. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't want those the orange or the tan, the ugly brown, the sand brown color. Like I don't want those. These green ones, yeah.
See, I wouldn't do the green, but I would do the tan or the brown ones.
Look at you.
Dude, I would go green. I would go green. Green is where I would probably go.
And no, you're talking about Rob Parker.
Rob Parker,
yeah,
Rob Parker. He said it. He was like, "Yeah, man, I got me some Yeezys." I'm like, "You?" But yeah, he must Yeezy must be doing something right because I see them everywhere and people just wearing them randomly. So
yeah.
Well, there's a lot of knockoffs too out there.
There is that. There is that. You are not lying.
And the women's Air Jordan 4 Shimmers, my personal favorites.
I would wear these. I ain't gonna lie. I would rock these.
The colorways.
See, Jordan just be getting over because they have some off whites that look very, very similar to this, and I think Jazz really wanted those, and so it's like, how many times say they're not off white, they shimmer now? All right.
Well, these are more pink too than that cream color of those off whites.
Yeah, the salmon colorway.
Yeah.
I like that. I can dig that. The Nike Dunk Low Georgetowns.
I like these.
Yeah, I like these.
Yes, sir. Talk to me.
Social status Nike Dunk Mid chocolate milk and strawberry milk.
Man, these are giving second grade vibes.
For real. Seriously.
Yeah, I wish the bottom on those chocolate milks would have not been that sky blue. Make it like a navy blue color, then you would have had something. But they cool. I mean, I'm not gonna knock them, but I'm not.
Steve, you should have Peyton wear these to the next tutus and tennis shoes.
I mean, when we were in second grade, chocolate milk was a big deal to us, so it makes sense. It makes sense. I see it. I see the vision.
Yeah, definitely matches the name. It reminds me of being in the lunch line, for sure. Now, acting Mets GM Zach Scott arrested on DUI charge after reported party at owner Steve Cohen's house. Hated to love it.
You big dummy.
Big dummy. Hate it.
Why do they get in these positions and fumble these various bags? I'll never know.
You making six figures, bro, and you can't have a car service come pick you up. Come on, my man. Gotta be smart.
We know where he was going after.
But also he probably thought he was in a neighborhood that he could just say who he is and he skates off. It's probably happened 100 times.
Yeah. New York City. I mean,
found out. We know where he was going afterwards. We know he was going somewhere he wasn't supposed to be going.
Mm-hmm. You're on the wrong side of town.
Yeah, you was looking for something, weren't you? Yeah.
This Yankee side of town.
Yeah, he found out. We
bleed navy blue over here.
Mm-hmm. Got banged on.
Judge temporarily blocks Western Michigan student athlete vaccine mandate. Hated or loved it.
That's true.
You hate to see this turn political, but it has.
Yeah.
It's their choice, but the school should not. They shouldn't make these kids get a vaccine. Like it's their choice, and then you're gonna put the vaccine whether they can play or not. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they had to get a vaccine to start school at some point.
When did this vaccine thing become a hot button topic, man?
Because it became political, but you had to have a vaccine to start school in kindergarten in the first grade.
You couldn't get nowhere.
You had to make sure your records were up. So now you could do it for these vaccines, but not this one. Like, okay,
man, my little kid better not get polio because y'all decide, you know what, I'm not doing any vaccines out here. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna make a comeback because y'all decided, okay, now all vaccines are bad. Like, you haven't been being vaccinated your whole life. Get out of here.
Yeah.
ESPN gives Lakers a C grade for off-season moves. Hate it or love it.
Hate it.
Steve, what you think, Steve? Be honest, Steve.
This is crazy. Like, you have arguably one of the greatest players of all time, depending on whose list you're looking at, and LeBron James. And then you have Russell Westbrook, who's still a top 10 player in the league, right?
Yeah.
And then you still have Anthony Davis. Like, the only old person is really LeBron and Melo. AD and Westbrook still have a bunch of years left in the NBA. So I'm not sure what they give a C grade. Come on, man.
I would say at least C plus because they still added Kendrick Nunn. They still added Kendrick Nunn. They added pieces around them that are really good at basketball.
Yeah,
they play on contending teams. So I don't know.
Under an A, like this is an A paper. When you get your paper, they pass the test back. You don't have an A. They have to have an A on this test because they were able to go out and get Russell. they were then able to get Melo and then to turn right around and have Rondo come back. That was the missing piece. They needed that.
Like I said, at least C plus. This is at least C plus. That's at least. I wouldn't waver it. I would be closer to like B, B plus maybe, but for them to just give them a C is hating. That's hating. Or setting up a narrative.
And that's exactly what ESPN is doing. They're setting up the low expectations, just in case some guys catch a couple of injuries and they can be like, I told you so. Yeah. And then it turns into this great miraculous underdog story with four of
LeBron
best,
James,
four of the best, greatest 100 players.
Dennis Rodman's Las Vegas Bender mentioned on The Last Dance being made into a movie, 48 Hours in Vegas.
I love it.
I do too. I can't wait.
Because you already know Dennis Rodman's so extra anyway. So
it's big cap. Big cap.
We gonna watch. He loves the attention. So he's gonna eat this one up. It's gonna be addicts.
You look at from the Jordan documentary too, like just think of the people that would want to come out and tell stories now. Just think of the source of information that they could have that's outside of Dennis Rodman and Carmen Electra.
I just want to hear her voice.
We know she lied and added a lot of sauce to that because all she wanted, she just wanted her camera time. So she's going to add sauce. So again, they could do some research and probably find a lot of guards and slot attendants and different things that might have some interesting stories to tell.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Ball says LA shoplifting incident made him who he is today. Hate it or love it.
Yes, lean into it, young man. Mm-hmm.
We love to see it. We love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it wasn't the shop. It was his daddy. Your daddy made you who you are.
Now we giving LeVar all the credit. Now you get all the credit. Now,
yeah, Steve didn't want to give him no credit. Look how Steve seesaws.
Man, LeVar literally has been winning the past 4 years, and we tried to claim that this man was crazy and all of that, but now look, he got potentially all three of his sons in the NBA. Great dad.
Mm-hmm. Steph Curry bought a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT for $180,000.
I love it.
I love this, man. Here's the thing, though. If you guys don't know what NFTs are, you got to Google it. And then the Bored Ape Yacht, there were 10,000 of these made, and it's basically just it's all digital, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's all digital. So now Steph Curry he just put it on his he has it on as his Abby on Twitter, and so it's all digital, and so he paid the money for it, and it just expecting it to go up from there. So it's pretty dope, honestly.
Yeah, it's a modern way to collect art, and really anything that's a collectible. So again, we've talked about it with the digital trading cards and different things. So there's a lot into it, but I like that Steph is doing this. I don't have any idea who's over the Bored Ape Yacht Club. But this is some cool designs in this, and it's a lot of plays that can be made off of this. So I really rock with it from an artistic sense.
And they're basically supposed to be like mutant apes. And when these hit the market, they sold out in an hour. So yeah, it's a big deal. But honestly, it's pretty cool too.
So what exactly are you buying? You're buying an NFT?
You're buying an NFT. He bought this. Basically, we probably owe Steph money for even showing this, but
no, we don't. We don't owe Steph nothing.
Now, Steph Curry and his wife Aisha created a Davidson Women's Sports Fund. Also,
I love it.
Applause.
I love that too.
Respect, Steph.
Sure. Jason Tatum honors late mentor Kobe Bryant with unique 24 tattoo design. Hate it or love it.
I love it.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Another man tattooed on you.
Come on, man. You don't even look at it like that, man. Come on.
I'm just
Steve. If there's two pieces of news Steve doesn't miss, it's Kobe news and Alex Smith news.
I mean, you know that Kobe.
Did I hear Alex Smith was at Arrowhead last weekend?
No, we didn't. No.
A little bit of news for you.
Totally irrelevant.
I know, but honestly, this tattoo is pretty cool though. It's I mean, you see the snake and the 24. It's pretty dope, honestly. He could probably get an NFT for that.
Shoot.
Why not?
I don't know about that one. It's a tattoo. You can just literally just get that tatted on you, and then you go, your own NFT.
Jake Paul beats Tyrann Woodley via split decision in cruiserweight fight. Hate it or love it.
I love it. I love it, man. Y'all think I'm crazy, but Jake Paul knows how to make money. Like this,
we never said that. We never said nothing to that. No, didn't say nothing.
Yeah, Steve's
contrary.
Steve's creating his own adversaries.
I just didn't think he was gonna win, and I mean he won by split decision, so I was wrong.
No, because I mean everybody's waiting for him to get knocked out, and it just hadn't happened yet. So what more can I say?
Yeah, nothing much. Dang, Tyrann, we thought it was gonna be you.
Yeah, but and the thing too is like, okay, you're still fighting. So Tyrann Woodley is a UFC fighter, right? And so he needs to fight a boxer. Like, you're not fighting UFC, you're actually boxing. Fight someone that will get in the ring and let you have it. Not one of those Floyd Mayweather, whether I'm gonna keep you up, knock you out, but keep you standing on your feet, type of thing. But yeah, he's able to make some money. Just put it to you that way.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you guys have going on for the rest of the day?
Labor Day weekend, day party stuff.
Oh yeah, what's everybody doing for Labor Day weekend? You watch our show. We got about 30 seconds left. Let us know what you're doing for Labor Day weekend. We may have to come to your barbecue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to know where the food at once it starts raining, of course.
Is it still raining out? I haven't seen.
Man, it looked gloomy where I'm at.
Oh yeah. But we appreciate everyone watching us each and every week. We appreciate everyone who joins in, sends us messages, gives us options to talk about. It's fun. Until next week, we are out of here. Have a great and safe Labor Day weekend.
Peace.
The views and opinions expressed on the W Radio Show by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not represent the opinions of the W Show, 100.1 FM, 1 Kansas City Radio, Sideline Sports Talk, Team Wall Street Foundation, or affiliates.